since the director's thinking this time.
You know, I've never tried a pickle sandwich.
You know,
And I've always wanted to try a pickle sandwich.
maybe consider just making one.
I don't have many pickles in my house.
You just go to the store, get yourself.
But then I'd have to go somewhere. And that's too much setup.
Well, what type of bread does a pickle sandwich use?
Just normal bread. I don't know. I've never had a pickle.
There's like
I've never
40
had a
types
pickle
of
sandwich.
pickles,
I've
40
never had a
types of
pickle
breads.
sandwich before. You know pickles are just cucumbers?
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah, and they like put
With
them
the
away.
vinegar.
Yeah. Pickled food, what can you do?
You can pickle other things other than a pickle?
Yeah, you can pickle like vegetables and cabbage and stuff.
Pickled cabbage?
Think of sauerkraut, you know, and then you have.
Is that pickled?
To an extent, I think.
Why don't they just say vinegared?
You
Is
tell
it
me.
because of the name? Hi, ladies and gentlemen. It's Charles here. I'm here for another one of these interview things. I'm here with Calvin Coolidge, or Calvin Kalinowski. What's your name?
Kalinowski. Calvin Kalinowski.
Kalinowski. What is that, German?
Yeah, Polish.
It's Polish?
Yes.
Well, how are you Polish?
So
I'm not racist.
Oh, no worries. I mean,
Okay.
people ask. Sometimes they get Korean, Japanese.
Mhm.
and
Just general Asian.
Yeah, they think like, oh, he looks Asian, East Asian, okay. But actually, I'm half Filipino.
You're half Filipino.
So come summertime, I'll get very dark tan.
Yeah.
You know? But it's only the white that actually makes me this yellowish.
And then come
pigmentation.
wintertime, you'll get super anti-Semitic
Oh,
because you're Polish.
No.
No?
Not just.
Okay.
You never know, but.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm Polish, Polish Irish, and
Polish Irish.
and Filipino.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're very Catholic.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Jeez.
Grew up in the Catholic household and went through all the motions. You had the Irish Catholic and then the Filipino Catholic.
Very aggressive, the Catholic.
Yeah.
All right. So where did you go to school then?
I went to just a bunch of rest schools in South Lakes High School, you know, and graduated from there and went to Nova.
And now you're going off to
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech
Yeah.
for what? Engineering?
No.
Structural
Language-
design?
Language and literature.
Interior
actually.
design? What is it?
Language and literature.
Language and literature, because everyone knows. You want a good language literature,
Of course, Virginia
you
Tech.
gotta go to Virginia Tech. So why do you like writing so much? Do you like writing? I guess.
Yeah, I actually love writing. I would get a career in writing if I could, but
Well, you can't.
there's not much money now. And
There's also no jobs.
can't. Well, you never know. Maybe I can become the next Stephen King right now.
No.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
No, wait. Are you writing a book?
Yeah, I'm actually writing a book, so that's how much I love writing.
So is it on like Stephen King type of horror, death, kill people type of thing?
Unfortunately not. Well, I did write murder mysteries before.
Uh-huh.
This one's more of a tragic romance.
Tragic romance.
Yeah. It will.
Well, let's step back. First of all, why do you like to write?
So I like to write because originally I used to be an artist. Like I love drawing. I thought that art would be my future. But then I found that you can make art with words in a sense. You look at it like a puzzle. You take your sentence, find the vocabulary you want for it, a way to describe. Sounds cheesy, but like describe a single.
You sound like my high school English teacher.
Perhaps, you know, maybe I should become a teacher. That's a
I
plan.
mean, if you hate your life.
But yeah. So I just like the way you can take a sentence, think about it like a puzzle, put those sentences into a paragraph, and eventually you get a story. And it's just a way to convey expressions, emotions, in a very literal sense, where they could read them, and other than having to interpret the art.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. So do you plan on? Have you written before?
Yeah.
What have you written?
So I've written. I've never published yet because I'm too afraid of criticism, which is the most essential thing to getting better at writing. But I've written about 4 short stories spanning from 10 to 30 pages, and then
Tell me one of them.
one of them. All right. Well, I'll tell you about this murder mystery that I wrote.
Did the wife do it? Did she kill him?
No, actually, it was not. It's a bunch of dumb high schoolers.
Dumb high school. Okay.
The way the whole mystery was laid out was that you take the first-person perspective of a character. And if it's in the first-person perspective, this character is going to die. So
Okay.
it'll be the events leading up to their death. They'll tell their entire story, and then it'll be very gruesome on how they're dying. And then they'll drop one detail, just one detail, of who the murderer might be. And it's out of chronological order, so some events happen before, other events happen here. And somewhere in the middle, the killer is also going to die. So of the names listed in the chapters, from all the details dropped in every chapter, you're going to figure out which hint does not fit in who the killer is.
So you don't tell people who the killer is?
No, you don't. You need to figure out through the chapters.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. What would your association be with, religious association membership?
Religious association. So I've had my confirmation in the Catholic Church, so I am technically an adult. I am an adult now.
Right.
Back then, like 8th grade, I was technically an adult in the Catholic Church, and I would say I look toward my religious affiliation as I would identify as a Catholic.
Do you religiously identify as a Catholic or culturally as a Catholic?
That's a very interesting question to ask because it's sort of a middle ground, whereas I am not completely 100% blindly follow the doctrine of the Catholic Church, I still have my own personal doubts, but there's faith, and that's the point.
Well, Pope Francis said that, to believe is just have doubt, right? You can't to say, oh, this is definitely.
Yeah, I'm not like some of my friends who believe that dinosaurs and man existed at the same time and Noah's Ark was the reason dinosaurs died. Yes, there's people who do think like that. They're not Catholic.
Yeah, that's because I was like, that doesn't sound Catholic. Yeah.
There's some.
I was thinking of Father Jim. I don't remember him telling me that in Sunday school. In your book, then, what's the book? What's the book based on?
The book right now, it's 1950s. It's the Marshall.
No, it's actually 2018. Right. Yeah.
Basically, it's the Marshall Plan. Marshall Plan was invested.
So this is Europe.
Yes, so it's post-World War II Europe, and the Marshall Plan put a lot of money, the United States put a lot of money, and same with the other Western powers, into Europe, so that communism wouldn't spread in. It follows a English businessman, English architect in particular, who goes down to Italy to help develop it, plan buildings with it, and it'll follow his story, in a sense, and how he sort of meets people. It's just a very interesting take, because I'm focusing more on a guy going from work is the prime factor in my life to humans and compassion is something to include too.
But do you not think this is another thing? This is actually something I'm going to do a video on. The question is, does that not fall into a religious ethic? Because this is why I wanted to bring in the religion first. Because an Englishman is someone who has a Protestant work ethic, which is work glorifies God. Whereas, an Italian has a Catholic work ethic, which means, the glory of God glorifies God. So they work less, and whereas, Northern European country compared to Northern European
stuff, yeah.
Right. So what do you will you put that type of ethic, that type of cultural difference in that book?
There are the cultural differences, because England has definitely fallen to be less religious during the times, post-World War II, especially. Religion used to be the major factor in the 1800s, not even 30 years war is when everyone decided, okay, religion's not.
We gotta slow down on that.
Yeah, I gotta slow down.
Yeah.
But I'm taking it into an account to where this guy, he's not really your average Englishman, he has embodied work to be the ultimate pleasure for life. So he is the highest level of functioning capitalism there can be in a person, where even in your off time you're trying to do work to maximize your profit, and it's not even the money that gets better, it's just the more work you get.
Right.
And
so are you a dirty communist? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, socialism. I'm kidding.
No, this is a genuine question. And do you feel that is it going to play out in the book that capitalism is a little hurtful to the human experience?
So
more than socialism.
If there's going to be that social commentary, it's sort of lacking from the social commentary more than individual, but it will imply some social commentary that you should always take some time out of your work to focus on forming relationships and bonds. Because you look at other countries in East Asia, for example, they're all work over family, and a lot of their populations are on the decline because of that. People don't.
Japan's gonna lose 100 million people.
Yeah, they went from 130 million. They're at 115 million now.
It's insane. They're gonna lose 100.
It's insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's tragic because of just how the mentality has been developed for work over family, you know? And like that would be slight social commentary there, but really just wants to focus on this relationship he forms with this person he meets, this love interest. And it'll follow how he will be very awkward and blunt at first, and you'll watch as his dialogue changes and his flowery and poetic visions that he has for these buildings also start to manifest and transcend onto people. So he'll follow that, but of course I don't like happy endings. I think they're cliche.
You don't like happy endings?
They're cliche.
Okay.
So
do you not think anything ends happily?
Well, when you take a happy ending, happily ever after, for example, the ultimate cliche of a happy ending, fairy tales, right? You are essentially putting closure on the book and you're being unrealistic, you know? Because in life, there's never going to be a happy ending, there's never going to be a sad ending, you know?
Oh, okay.
Because you always have your ups and downs, and the ups and downs that you have in life is what makes it life, you know? So if you're happily ever after, what is happiness if there's no sadness? And I think that's just something that's very important to any ending, you know? That's why I'm gonna have most of my stories be open-ended, you know? You can never have closure in an ending. If you have closure, you're essentially labeling that whatever happens beyond that is no longer to the interest of the reader. And if they develop these attachments to these characters, what justice does that do them, you know? You gotta leave room for interpretation for anything creative, in my opinion at least, you know? Let the reader, because they're spending time with your work, they should at least be able to take it even further, you know, appreciate it and let it sit on them. So,
okay,
yeah.
good. So happy endings, you heard it here first, suck.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Anyway, so no, I did want to ask you before, we talked to this channel this week about cultural appropriation, and we mentioned one of the main topics we've been talking about is that thing that happened last week with the girl in the Chinese dress. Have you heard about this? The girl in
she's wearing the
Middle America, nowhere, that wore a dress to prom.
Is it Jing Pao or something? Jing Pao?
Oh, I think she's a white person.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
what she was wearing.
Yeah. I don't know. Ni hao, I don't know.
Ignore the term.
Yeah, I don't know. No, so what do you think about that story and cultural appropriation in general?
So here's the thing, right? I'm Filipino, so either Pacific Islander or East Asian, Southeast Asian, whatever you take it. Very confusion with the senses. But what I noticed a lot about my Asian American friends is that they get very upset when they see a white person attempting to mimic the culture. You know, this is particularly talking about what the term weeaboo is. You know, those people who love and fantasize about anime. And
those
Korean
Japanese
dramas.
lovers.
And like, while I don't see anything wrong with that, I do see something wrong when someone's trying to correct someone or think they're the automatic expert because they've watched these shows. That's where the line sort of gets drawn. But in terms of wearing like a Chinese dress to prom, I don't see anything wrong with that. That's an appreciation for the culture in a sense.
That's an interesting point, because I was speaking to someone, I was speaking to my friend's grandmother, and they were having this, they asked the question of, where is the line for you? And my argument for cultural appropriation, you know, was when you start mimicking the verbal, fluctuations of people. So if I go to East LA for some reason and I start having a Hispanic accent in like 10 minutes of me moving there, or something like that, I feel like I feel like that would be a little bit kind of weird. But except if I lived there for a while, then you pick it up.
Yeah, eventually.
Right, but so are you saying that your kind of the place where you end is where when people try to correct someone else's culture when they're not a part of the culture?
So like mimicking in terms of verbal thing, that's a whole different thing because it can be very offensive to people. It's like going to England and saying Cheerio.
Yeah, that's the argument. That's the argument we made in the first video, because if we the argument I made was, if we say that all cultures are only for the specific cultures which they originate from originally, all the fashions that is, except for European culture, then does that not make European culture the global culture, and then stamp down all other cultures? right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, it's just imperialism happening.
It's just imperialism, but it's now promulgated by the very people that are fighting against it.
Exactly.
Right?
So it's just this. It's becoming like this double standard in a sense, and it's sort of dumb for people to start freaking out. Like, oh, this is why are they doing this? You know, they're disrespecting this wonderful piece of clothing. It's just saying, you know, hey, you know, they're experimenting with it. They're curious.
Yeah.
No, they're not hurting anyone unless they're going around trying to force their views on you.
Right.
You know, like this is what I think it is, and this is what it is.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Well, all right. I'm glad we talked about that. Thank you very much, Calvin Coolidge. What's your name?
Calvin Kalinowski.
Calvin Kalinowski.
Yes.
So close.
Yes.
So close. You look presidential. That's why I'm saying it. All right. He wasn't a bad president, Calvin Coolidge.
Oh no.
Wasn't bad.
His whole thing was, I'm not going to do anything to the economy.
Yeah.
Let it turn into golden age.
Yeah.
And then let the next president handle it.
Yeah.
Probably.
And then,
if it collapses, you know.
which it did.
But Coolidge prosperity was a thing.
Yeah.
It was the golden age.
That's right. The golden age of the golden 20s. Roaring
20s.
Yes, close enough. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming by. Thank you for watching about 3 minutes of the video and getting bored. Don't forget to subscribe to the thing. Press the little bell, the
like button.
That's right. The like button. Don't forget to
I'll
like me on.
To you like 20 times.
Yes. Make fake accounts.
I'm already on it. Don't worry.
You find me on Friendster. MySpace.
Yeah.
That's for music now. That's not being serious.
Oh.
Of course, don't forget to get me on Tumblr,
Oh, right.
Pinterest, all of the important social medias that everyone uses on a daily basis.
Google Plus thing.
Google Plus. You gotta find me. You gotta get in my circle at Google Plus. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.